Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to the Artist Next Level podcast. Let me ask you this question. What happens when you listen to more than 150 women over 40? That's exactly the question we're going to get an answer today from my good friend, Penny Fraser. Penny's an incredible photographer. I had the pleasure of meeting her in person here in South Florida. And she's just an amazing artist, photographer. And she actually has done that. She has, for the last 5 years, not only interview but also photograph over 150 women over 40. That project has changed her life as well. She now has created this thing that's called the 40 over 40 project. So she's going to share with us the lessons that she has learned about confidence, aging, health, relationships, purpose, and starting over. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be a great conversation.
Resources, inspiring interviews, business practices, and practical advice to take your art career to the next level. Join Sergio Gomez in today's Artist Next Level and get ready to take control of your career.
Hey, Penny, good to see you. How are you?
Thank you so much. So happy to be here on the podcast with you, Sergio. You are wonderful, and I'm excited to share some of the information today.
Absolutely, Penny. Well, it's so fun that because we are both here in South Florida, so it's hot, but we are inside the air conditioning room today. You are in your place and I'm in mine, and it's a hot summer day. But we had the pleasure of not only meeting each other here in person, but also for us, my wife and I, we attended one of your big events, and it was just incredible. To see the project, how much it has grown in the last, 4 or 5 years that you've been doing it now, and to see the transformation, to see the story. So, kind of to give a little bit of our friends a visual. We walk into this beautiful space, full of beautiful ladies and their friends and families. And as we walked in, there were like these amazing professional photographs that you're doing with each person, which I have to say is not the typical headshot. It's an actual conceptual photograph where you interview the person, and based on that interview, who they are, creating like this beautiful scene that really, when just by looking at the photograph as a viewer walking through the exhibit, you kind of want to know more about them, right? Because like just the image already says a lot. Like and then you go through the whole exhibit and you see the stories, and then you had a beautiful program, and everybody seemed so happy and excited to be there. So congratulations, Penny. You have done
Thank
something
you.
quite outstanding. And we want to learn more about kind of what you have learned along the progress. But before we get there, tell us a little bit for our friends who maybe they have not, seen your work before. How did you ended up like becoming a photographer?
Thank you. I'm so glad you came to the show last year. And yes, my story is like many of the women that I photograph over 40. I was over 40 and I had a transformation in my life where, after practicing law for many years, I tapped into my more creative side. And I noticed personally how photography and art can transform a person. I felt more confident, I felt more happy, and I wanted to do that for others. That's how the 40 over 40 really came about. And in the beginning, it was a photography project, but it's grew to be so much more. After 5 years, this is really a cultural legacy type project. The storytelling is just as important as the photography. And my goal is to help women feel seen, heard, and also celebrated. And I do that through this project where I photograph them after interviewing them, because I want to make sure I have different stories to have a rich cultural legacy to leave behind to the community. it's important because each woman has a personal transformation through this project. They feel self confident and also to preserve their stories for our community.
I love that. And really, as I was thinking about our conversation today, I was reminded of, you came actually to us to the next level. That's when we met first online, when you were transitioning right from law into, fine art and photography. And you were talking about this big project, you were kind of starting about this back then, it's like probably 5 years ago or so. We were not in Florida yet. We were still in Chicago. So it's been so fun now, fast forward a few years and we happen to be almost neighbors, right, and of just a couple of towns here, distance from each other, and actually being able to see what you have done. And I wanted to kind of like let's go back a little bit to maybe that first year, right, when it all started, when maybe it was just a big idea. Tell me a little bit about how did you went about selecting the women that you wanted to photograph.
Well, it was right after COVID, beginning of 2021, when I started doing the interviews. And during COVID, I was very isolated and I started taking my own photos. I had a selfie Sunday and I realized how the photography really changed my personal perspective and my confidence level. So I vowed to do that for women over 40. So I started interviewing women from all walks of life. And when we start talking about all the different things I learned from interviewing and photographing all the women, it's very interesting. There are common threads. No matter who the person is, they want to feel seen and heard, like I said before. And I started compiling these interviews and picking the stories that are most diverse. I wanted to have a lot of diversity. So whoever comes to the exhibit and learns about the project can relate to one or more people. We had women that started a new career after 40. They survived breast cancer. They survived domestic violence. They went through divorces. They were caretaking or became new empty nesters. They relocated. All the stories are so diverse. And you really see the resilience women have after 40.
Mhm.
I
And tell
love.
me specifically about the number 40. Why starting at, or why this project, really looking at the number 40?
Well, 40 over 40, it is a movement in all things. They have awards for 40 over 40, best in business, or there are others that want to do a photography movement, 40 over 40. And I think 40 is important because as women um, go through the different transitions in life, I think around 40 and after, at least from the women that I photographed, that's when the biggest change occurs. So that's why 40 over 40, I want to have a diverse enough amount of women in the project. So it's 40 over 40. But this project is different than any other 40 over 40. It's not just giving awards out for accomplishments, it's not just taking photos of 40 women. It goes beyond that to a cultural legacy project. This is really celebrating and uplifting the women that are in it and giving them a platform to really see themselves, their authentic selves, and their accomplishments and what they are doing in the community and how important they are. Every woman has a story worth preserving, and that is my goal, is to help them preserve their legacy.
I love it. And let's talk about how that it is achieved. The part of um, collecting these stories and archiving them. So you have, for one, which is the actual photograph itself, right? So they this beautiful photograph that documents that session that they have with you. There's also the interview. There's the written story, and there's a magazine, right, or a publication. So tell us also about that other aspect, which I love that, because I've seen a lot of shows like 50 over 50, 40 over 40 kind of thing, but they become like a one, like a one off, and then that's it. What I love about your project is that you have committed to make this into a legacy project, meaning that it continues on and on, right? It wasn't just a good idea for 1 year. Now you moved on to something else, but like you're really committed to this to make it bigger and better each time, to continue finding stories. And now also I love the publication, because it also documents it in a way that anyone can read that, even after, five
Yes.
years later, 10 years later. Some of these women can give also a magazine to their kids or grandkids during the future, like where they can learn more about them, and their own legacy. So tell me a little bit about the magazine part. Was that part of your initial idea? How did it came about? And what are maybe some of the one more kind of like best memories that you have of working also with the magazine? And maybe show us a couple of the
Yes.
magazines if you have them.
I have a few
Yeah, beautiful.
magazines.
The magazine is
Yes.
beautiful.
Thank you. Here's different stories and photos. So when I first started it, I wanted the magazine because storytelling is just as important as the photo. Back then, I interviewed the ladies. Well, I interview every lady when they want to apply to the project. Then I talked to them. We designed the photo shoot based on their own personality. For me, it's very important to have an authentic photo. So I don't offer hair and makeup. I want the person to look at the photo and know that is them. I help them with wardrobe and, of course, with posing, lighting to make sure their images are gorgeous. And then in the earlier years, like this one, this is 2023, I had um, their inspiring message that I shared with their photo. And then in 2025, I changed the format to include more of their own story with the photo
Oh, I
because
love it. I love that.
it it still has their message to women. All of the women give a message to the community to help inspire them. And this is online, so it's free to share with friends and colleagues. It's great for like women transitioning their careers or they're entrepreneurs because they can really talk about what they do. But it's really important to have that community aspect to talk about what are some of the myths you want to bust about being over 40? What are some of your aspirations? What is the message you could tell women in the community, the younger women, the women over 40? This is all about building community as much as celebrating themselves. So I do that through the magazine. If anybody wants to go to my website, they'll see a page with the magazine. It's a flip book and they can go through, and I also have full interviews on there. After the photo shoot, we do an interview. So can't get every single word in the magazine, of course, because it would be too long, but I want to honor everything they share, so it's full there. This year, we have a very special local entrepreneur. She is Rita Case. She is from Rick Case Motors, and she has a very, very interesting story. And she's going to give the keynote speech at the event this year. And I photographed her, and she has some lovely things to say to women in the community. She does a lot of work
I,
to help them.
I love that. And I also, I can imagine that some of those photo sessions could be quite challenging, could be quite difficult. I remember in our community, you posted the other day, you said this is one of the most difficult ones where you photographed one of the ladies who had a giant snake hanging from her neck. And then tell me about that. Maybe that's
Sure.
might be one of the most interesting ones.
Sure. She told me how she loves to advocate for misunderstood animals and she rescues snakes. She has
What?
a pet boa constrictor that she rescued, and she wanted to really highlight that to bring awareness to the community. So I myself am afraid of snakes, and I wasn't sure, how things would go, but it's very important to document each woman's authentic story, and I wanted to honor that. So I said, sure, bring the snake in. So we kept the studio very cold because I learned, when it's cooler, they're not as active. And we did some
Crank the
amazing
AC right to the max.
crank the AC, and you cannot pose a snake. They do their own thing. So we got some amazing shots. We had two different, like a fashion look and more fantasy type look. And at the end, everything worked out great. And she said, do you want to hold this snake before I leave? And I was like, well, I came this far. Why not? So she put the snake over
Oh,
me
that's
and I'm
good, right?
holding it. And it wasn't so bad. The snake was heavy though. I give her a lot of credit for
It looks
for
heavy.
posing for so long.
How big was the snake? Do you know? It's I don't know. It looked like 15, 10 feet. I don't know how long it was,
it,
but it looked
it was pretty long. I don't know how long it was, but it was heavy and long.
maybe
But
15, maybe 15 feet is too much, but I'm exaggerating maybe, but it looked long. It looked big for sure.
it it was long and big, but it was very,
Uh,
very docile. It did flick
well,
out its tongue when I was holding it though. I was like,
I get scared about a little garden snake. Just imagine. Yeah, a big one. Are
yeah.
there or are there also? I assume there are. That's like a really fun one and exciting. But I'm sure there are some photo shoots that may be more difficult also because of the story or what they represent for these ladies.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how do you approach the aspect of the visual. As you have already uh, the subject, the person who you're gonna photograph, the lady, how do you go about like making the visual story?
Well, there's one that comes to mind. Her name is Sabella, and she had a double mastectomy. She talks about her story in the magazine. And she is really about body positivity. So when I planned her photo shoot, I wanted something to honor her story in a way that doesn't hide who she is, but also celebrates, her surviving, becoming a survivor. So here is Sabella, and what we did is we draped this beautiful pearl, um, like bib kind of shawl necklace around her so you can see her and she's strong, she's beautiful. And there's one quote in here that really captures her story. And that's what I wanted to communicate through her photo. It says, never the loser, always the winner. Never the victim, always the fighter. And that is something that really stuck with me. And I also added her to the invite for last year. This is another uh, photo from her session. And we had a lot of flowers and made sure a lot of them were pink to represent Cancer Awareness Month. So I love that she is helping others that are going through a crisis, and she also helps others with body positivity, even though there may be, some changes like what she had through her situation. You know, all women are beautiful, and she is helping women see the beauty within themselves, and I loved her quote, and I really wanted to do something to really tell her story visually as well as through her words.
Yes, no, and thank you for sharing that. And what I love about what you're doing, and also when I went to see the show, is that these are all women stories, and many very inspiring stories of transformation, stories of resilience. Stories of change, stories of rebirth, restarting one more time. And I think something really important to share with our friends is that this is not a project of women for women only, but right, we can all learn from, we can all really
Yeah.
get touched, get inspired. As a man, I reading all these stories and experience it for myself. I left feeling like excited, for this collection of stories of resilience. And I think,
Yeah.
particularly women throughout history, have been so powerful in their resilience, and how often they don't get the level of notice that they deserve, because in a male dominated society, it's like the top CEOs, the top this, and typically are men, right, who get highlighted. But I love that you are kind of going against that, and now making a wave of change, through your work. And tell me, what has been the last 5 years, maybe when some of your biggest obstacles to overcome, as you're trying to bring this to the public and to the community, and give these stories more visibility and exposure, again, in a world which typically does not seem that much.
That's a great question, and I think the biggest obstacle is really having my dream and making it come to fruition and trying to make a difference in the community. I I've always been an artist and I was a photographer, for many years as a passion, but doing it at this level where you're hearing someone's story and you're really trying to capture them authentically and to share that with the community, I have learned to be not just a better photographer, but also a better storyteller, an event planner, a
For
magazine
sure.
publisher, a graphic designer. So, and also I reached out to the community. So, um, I've been so blessed to partner with so many different organizations along the way and different businesses. And it's just been amazing. Before COVID hit, my day-to-day life was the same for many years,
Mhm,
wake up, go to the office, come home, eat dinner, maybe watch some TV or do something
mhm.
creative here and there. But during COVID, when I had time to really reflect on what I wanted to do and how I can make a difference, that led me down this path. And sometimes it's been very tough because I'm a one woman show with a real passion. But when I reach out and have these partnerships with different organizations, this year, the nonprofit partner we have is Fort Lauderdale Women's Club. They've been the host of the event for a few years, and we're doing all sorts of wonderful things to help women in the community with this. And a local cafe has partnered with me for the community events because my goal is to get this demographic, women over 40, really connected in the community, have them make new friends, have them collaborate with each other, and things like that. And I have these free events. We've had three already this year, and I'm planning the fourth. And those partnerships are really, really important to build this cultural legacy, community type legacy project. And I really put myself out of the comfort zone, so those are some of the obstacles I encountered, and it really transformed me. So I wouldn't say they're really obstacles at this point, but, learning
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah, and I love that because you yourself are a great example of what you are doing, right? You have done that change, right? Where you, as you mentioned, you were kind of like in this typical cycle of I get up, I go to work, I do my thing, go back, I'm tired, watch TV, go back the next day. Friday, you're happy that it's Friday, go back again and do it all again Monday, right? So it's a typical corporate kind of like life that many people live, and for many like yourself, who have that creative ambition and that creative drive and heart, you also wanted to exercise that, right? And
Yeah.
I have found over the years so many people who have that desire of being creative, but never gave themselves the chance to do it, right? And life went by, they never did it. But you have done it, right? You left kind of a lucrative career in law. I think you have that transition that you have lived yourself, giving yourself a new opportunity to say, you know what, I'm gonna go all out on this thing, and not only doing this for myself, but for others. And I've always, and you probably have heard me talk about this. I see the artists in various levels. At the first level, when we're just kind of newbies in the art and just trying to do our thing, and we're looking for opportunities. We go to wherever we find an opportunity, we're looking for opportunities to come our way. That's level one. Level two is like when an artist says, you know what, yes, I'm looking for opportunities, but I'm going to start making my own opportunities, right? And then now you start making your own opportunities. You find like, well, I'm not going to wait for a yes. I'm just going to go and do my thing. That's level two. And then the level three, which you went through all those levels really quickly. The level three is the one where for many artists takes them many years, where they say, you know what, I'm not only going to open opportunities for me, but I'm going to open opportunities for others. So you become an opportunity maker. And I think that's the most beautiful one to be at, because that's like what leads to your legacy project, right? Which I've also talked about many times. The legacy projects, like this project that you want to do, you love to see in the world something that when we are gone, people will be remember us for as well, and documenting that project. And so you are at that stage where not only you're making things beautiful for yourself, for your career, but also now you're an opportunity maker and giving all these stories and all these women who are already successful in their own right, but through your creativity and through your photography, now you are documenting the beauty of their stories and their lives, and the things that they have gone through for all of us to enjoy on the other side, right? For all of us. So
Yeah.
I love those transitions in which you have been through. Now that you are on your fifth year, tell us a little bit about kind of what's coming, what's next, or what's in the pipeline for the project.
So what's in the pipeline for the project is the event that's coming up in October. This year, we're going to have the keynote speaker, like I mentioned, Rita Case. We're also going to have all the ladies there. We're going to have the event, the exhibit where I print out each of the one image from each of those sessions. And also, I print out their magazine articles so people can read about them, and I launched the magazine that night. So that's going to be really exciting. Everybody will be able to see the magazine in person, or they can go on their phone. They can send the link to share with friends and family. And I am going to continue with the community events. So I want to have even more next year, and maybe one of them more structured, like a conference instead of just a fun community event for networking, so that some of the women will be able to leave with some, knowledge about whatever the conference is about.
I love that
And
idea. Wow, growing into a conference.
thank
That's
you.
pretty cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a dream for, and
Yes.
then another dream is to transform some of the stories that I've heard, their images, into paintings. So that is something I'm gonna be working on. I'm working on a series that is going to include some portraiture and some non-portraiture, but it's all going to talk about empowerment, transitions in a woman's life, and things like that. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Yeah, to hear how a project evolves, and sometimes as you're going through it, you may not know how it's gonna look like 5 years from now, but at least you already kind of start seeing some of the directions that you might take, and it's exciting. When you can look back and say, well, 5 years is 5 years. It's not easy, hasn't been easy, but it feels like you're just getting started. I'm
Yes.
sure.
Ev-
So there's,
Every
I
year,
think
I think is something more.
the stories, I'm sure there are so many. I wanted to ask you too, because when we met you, you had come to the Art Next Level too. Tell me in a few words, if you could, how also the Art Next Level, the program where we met, has helped you in your own art career, in finding your way into the art world, and even what you're doing today.
I love being a member of Art Next Level. I first joined early in my art, my art side of my career, and I learned so much from you, and I love that you have courses online. I can listen whenever I want, but you also have the community, which is really important. And I love learning from others and connecting with them and making friends, and all of us going through the journey together to become a better artist. And you have shared so much knowledge with us that it's so valuable. And I'm so glad I'm still, a member today, because I learned something new every time. I love it. Thank you.
uh, Thank you, Penny. Thank you. We love having you there, of course, as well, and the community too. So it's that's what makes it valuable, right? With wonderful people like yourself are part of it.
Exactly. And
Now I'm sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say the funny thing is, whenever I meet a local artist, even though you just moved here, I think 2 or 3 years ago, everybody knows you, and I love that, because you're making such an impact on, all of us artists locally, but also internationally through your platform.
Oh,
So,
thank you, Penny.
thank
Appreciate it. It's at the end of the day, it's a small world, right? And particularly the art world is sort of small. So it's a wonderful community, and that's what's beautiful about it. So, Penny, I know you're here in South Florida. And for our friends who are here, who would love to maybe visit your studio, where are you located at, and where is maybe your next opening?
Hi, my art studio is at Zero Empty Spaces in the Dakota Building in South Florida, 1855 Griffin Road, and it's a collective art studio, and there are about 40 of us artists there. I have my spot where I'm doing oils and mixed media work, and we have an open house the third Friday of each month. So I would love to have everybody come. It's a free event, free parking. Come meet me and the other talented artists, and we have a really nice time. It's from 4 to, I think, 6 or 7. And just contact me and I'll tell you, when. And also, if you want to come by for a private art studio tour, just contact me and I will show you around. My photos are done somewhere else offsite in a photography studio, but the art studio is my happy place where I go to paint.
I love it, and I love Zero Empty Spaces. Of course, I had the opportunity to go to the big opening at the Dakota building, which is really beautiful. And I heard that now it has expanded and is bigger and better. So I gotta go back the next
Yes.
Friday, also to visit your studio as well.
Yes, come visit us. We're right across the way where we used to be. We're in a bigger space, so we have more
Awesome.
artists and more art to see.
Beautiful. We'll go
Yeah.
check it out. But I'm sure there will be friends who, after listening to your story and what you have shared, who are now really curious to see some of these wonderful
Mm.
photographs and to read some of the stories. Where can the friends find it online? That they can learn more about the project. Also, what is your social media where they can find more about the project? And also, how do people who might know someone who like will this would be a great opportunity for them to be part of, uh, as a women who may be like perfect for your project. How do they go about it? How can they tell somebody, or how can they themselves also apply for the project?
Yes, they can apply online at www.penny, Penny, Fraser, Fraser photography.com, or they could call me. My number is 786-970-8843. My social media, they can send me a DM or go to the bio where there's a link to my link tree. My Facebook and Instagram is at Penny, Penny, Fraser, Frascr, photography, photography. And I would love to hear from the ladies out there that are over 40. You can tell me about yourself and we can see if you're a good fit for the project. If you want to nominate someone else, just let me know about them and how I can reach them. And then I can see if they're a good fit. And if they're a good fit, I'll just, kind of walk them through and see if they like to be in the 40 over 40 magazine and art exhibition. I'm excited for this project.
That's amazing. So when is the next? Are you already taking applications for the next round, or what is the
I'm
timeline
taking
on that?
applications. It's on a rolling basis. Right now, I have a few spots left for the October launch. And when that gets filled up, then I, start getting ready for the next magazine, which will launch next year. So anyone can apply anytime whenever they hear this podcast. They could reach out to me and I can let you know which magazine, which year's uh, edition I'm working on.
Mhm. Are you doing one issue per year, or you doing more than one?
It's one issue per year. It takes me about a year to interview and photograph and create the
Yeah,
magazine. So it's launched once a year at the magazine launch reception, which I have once a year. So
I love it.
that's
I
the
love it.
big
And that
day.
makes it more special. Yeah, that
Yes.
makes it more special too, as well. So that's awesome. I love it. Penny, thank you so
Thank
much for joining us today. What a wonderful project you have. I want to congratulate you on it. Uh, Being a witness of your commitment and your energy, and you're always happy and excited, about the project. You always have a big smile when you talk about it. You're passionate about it, and we just want to say thank you for all you do for this world, of making it a better place by sharing the stories that inspire us all. So thank you, Penny. I really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for all you do. And bye, everybody.
Thank you. And well, to my friends, thank you for listening to the episode today. Do us a big favor if you loved it. please go and give us a comment on social media or in the app, whatever you use to listen to the podcast. Also, make sure if you listen to it, go and find Penny online in her social media or her website. Let her know that you listen to the podcast. What were your takeaways? And please do us a big favor, share this episode with another friend of yours. Thank you so much, and I will see you at the next level.
Check out our website at www.theartistnextlevel.com, where you will find our podcast library, learn about our upcoming webinars, find resources relevant to your career, and much more. Thanks for listening to today's podcast, and we'll see you at the next level.